Ever feel like you're just drowning in data? I mean, seriously, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, right? But what if I told you that your experiences, how you learn and think, well, that's actually the key to unlocking like the next level of AI.
Mm.
We hear so much about AI, this whole revolution. Everyone's talking about faster computers, smarter algorithms, but there's a secret ingredient and it's often overlooked.
Yeah.
It's high quality data, not just any data, it's the kind that really captures what makes us human, how we think.
Right.
So we're diving deep into that today with insights from Alexandr Wang. He's the CEO of Scale AI. They're really focused on this challenge, kind of like I guess you could say the culinary school of the AI world, finding the best ingredients, but for these powerful AI systems.
Yeah. And, one thing people often misunderstand about AI
Hmm.
is that it's not just about raw computational power, like having the fastest computers or even the most complex algorithms.
Right.
It's really the data itself, and particularly data that's generated by us, by humans, that's becoming the most crucial factor.
So are we saying that instead of just making AI faster, more efficient, we either need to think about feeding it the right kind of knowledge, the kind that we humans, we excel at?
Exactly. Wang talks about this, how AI advancement really boils down to three main things. He calls them pillars:
Mm-hmm.
compute power, algorithms, and of course the data. Think of it like a three-legged stool.
Gotcha. You need all three for it to stand properly, for sure.
You need all three for stability.
Strong foundation, right?
Right. And just like a stool, if one leg is shorter, well, the whole thing's going to be a bit wobbly.
Exactly, exactly. So it sounds like we're doing pretty good on 2 out of 3 of those legs. We've got the compute power, we've got these amazing algorithms being developed. But what about the data leg? Where do we stand there?
Well, that's where we hit a bit of a bottleneck, honestly. Well, those other areas, the computing power, the algorithms, they've progressed incredibly fast. The availability of that really high-quality data, the human-generated stuff, it hasn't quite kept pace. It's become the limiting factor.
It's like we've hit a wall.
Yeah,
AI has kind of gobbled up all the easy data, and now it's hungry for something more sophisticated, something that really reflects how we think as humans.
that's a great way to put it. And that's exactly where this idea of frontier data comes in, which is what Scale AI is so focused on. It's about moving beyond those readily available data sets and creating something richer, something more complex, something tailored specifically for this advanced AI.
Okay, frontier data. I'm already hooked. What makes it so special? What are we talking about here?
Imagine you're teaching a chef to cook, right?
Hmm.
And instead of showing them techniques, explaining flavors, you just hand them a list of ingredients.
Okay.
They might be able to throw something together, maybe it's edible,
Maybe, yeah.
but it's not going to be anything impressive. To really master cooking, they need to understand the how and the why behind it all.
They need more than just a grocery list. So we're saying AI needs more than just raw data. It needs the how and the why behind human decisions, the way we solve problems.
Exactly. You can't just feed AI a bunch of information and expect it to suddenly understand the world the way we do.
Right.
That's to learn from our experiences, from our intuition, and yeah, even our mistakes.
We're not just teaching AI to think, we're teaching it to think like us. That's a huge difference.
Absolutely. That's why Wang calls this one of the great human projects of our time.
Yeah.
It's not just about, building smarter machines. It's about pushing the boundaries of what AI can achieve by tapping into the very essence of our own intelligence.
This is fascinating stuff, but how do we actually go about creating this frontier data? Where does it come from?
There are two main paths.
Okay, 2 paths to this frontier data. Let's break them down. What's the first one?
So the first path takes us into the world of synthetic data. Basically, we're talking about creating artificial data, data that's specifically designed to train AI.
So we're not just relying on what's out there in the real world. We're actually building like simulated environments for AI to learn in.
That's the gist of it. Think of it like building a virtual world. But this world is filled with information that's tailored to teach AI the specific skills we want it to learn.
Okay, that's pretty wild. But even in the synthetic world, we'd still need humans involved, right? To design these data sets, make sure they make sense.
Oh, absolutely. Humans are still calling the shots. We're setting the parameters, designing these realistic scenarios, guiding the whole process.
So it's like, I don't know, like building a flight simulator, but for AI, you want it to be as close to the real deal as possible, even though it's in this controlled environment.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, that's path one, creating synthetic data. What about that second path? How do we find frontier data out there in the wild?
This is where things get really interesting. This path leads us to the treasure trove of data that's already out there. Proprietary data.
Proprietary data?
Yeah, the data that companies, governments, all kinds of organizations are already sitting on. And trust me, it's a gold mine for AI training.
So it's like having a treasure chest, but maybe not knowing how to open it.
Exactly. Right now, so much of this data is just sitting there, unused, or at least not used to its full potential.
What kind of data are we talking about here? Give me some examples.
Well, let's say you've got a logistics company, right? They've been delivering packages for decades. Think about all the data they have. Delivery routes, traffic patterns, all sorts of stuff. That data could be used to train AI systems to optimize delivery routes, predict traffic with incredible accuracy, maybe even anticipate potential problems before they happen.
So instead of just reacting to what's happening, we're using data to anticipate the future. That's amazing.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Think about healthcare, finance, you name it. The possibilities are pretty much endless if we can unlock the power of this proprietary data.
So how do we do it? How do we crack the code and get AI to actually use this data effectively?
It's a bit of a mindset shift. Organizations need to start seeing their data not just as, a byproduct of what they do, but as a valuable resource.
A resource that can be used to train these incredibly powerful AI systems.
Right. It's about moving from simply collecting data to actively creating and curating data that can teach AI to solve really complex problems.
It's like we need to build a bridge between all this data we have and the AI systems that can learn from it. Like we need translators or something.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
We need people who can bridge that gap. Absolutely. Data scientists who can wrangle all this information, domain experts who understand the context, and maybe even a little bit of creative thinking to come up with new ways to train these AI systems.
So it's like assembling a dream team, bringing all these different perspectives together to unlock the secrets hidden within this data. But it sounds like we're not just talking about making things a little faster, a little more efficient. This is about tackling some of the biggest challenges we face.
Now you're getting it. Let's take personalized medicine, for example.
Personalized medicine, yeah, that's got to be huge. I mean, we're all so different. Makes sense our healthcare should be too, right?
Exactly. And that's where this frontier data, this AI that's trained on it, that's where it shines. We're talking about moving away from this one-size-fits-all approach to medicine and actually treating the individual.
Okay, so less about just treating the disease and more about the person. I like it, but what does that actually look like? Paint me a picture.
Imagine AI that can look at, massive data sets of patient information, like medical histories, genetic profiles, even lifestyle factors, and use all that to create a truly personalized treatment plan. Yeah, and imagine being able to predict which patients would respond best to certain therapies just based on their genes, or even flag potential side effects before they even happen. I mean, we're talking about a whole new level of effectiveness, minimizing risks. This is the power of frontier data.
It's like having an AI doctor right there with you, helping you navigate all the complexities. This is incredible, but what about other fields? What else can we tackle with this kind of data?
Well, one area where frontier data is already making a big impact is climate change.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we need all the help we can get there, right?
Absolutely. And AI can play a big role. With this rich data, we can train AI to analyze things like satellite imagery, weather patterns, environmental data. We can build much more accurate climate models. We could even get better at predicting natural disasters.
So instead of just reacting to these events, we might actually have a chance to get ahead of them.
That's the goal. And it's not just about prediction. AI can analyze data from renewable energy sources, optimize energy grids, even design more sustainable cities. We're talking about using data to transition to a greener future. And that's really exciting.
It's inspiring to see how this pursuit of frontier data, it's not just about, making things faster or more efficient. We're talking about tackling some of the biggest challenges humanity faces. It really puts things in perspective.
It does, and that's why this is such a pivotal moment for AI. It's becoming clear that human input isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential. We're not just building machines here, we're shaping the future of intelligence itself. And we're doing it by providing the very data that fuels its growth, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
It's like we're not just watching this technology unfold, we're active participants. We're shaping its trajectory with every piece of data. That's a pretty powerful realization.
It really is. But it also highlights the responsibility we have. As we unlock the potential of AI through this frontier data, we have to do it thoughtfully, ethically, with a deep understanding of how it might impact our world. We have to get this right.
It's a future full of potential, that's for sure. But it's one that demands careful consideration and a lot of collaboration. As always, such a thought-provoking deep dive today. Really appreciate you taking the time to break all this down with me.
Anytime. Happy to be here.
And to all our listeners, stay curious out there. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.